Hello, and welcome to this course on Introduction to Test Automation Framework. This course is for the beginners who want to learn the basic steps to develop a complete test framework. In the end of this course, you will have a brief idea how the framework structure will look like and what are the different terminologies used. I am designing the course in such a way that either a beginner who is completely new to the automation testing or who has very less experience in automation can enable themselves to dive deep into the automation ocean. So let's start. So this is the complete picture that after setting up the automation framework with all the things required will look like. So we will be dividing the complete setup into four different parts. So first will be our source code management, where your source code will reside and how will you manage it. Then the automation framework setup. Here we'll be using the feature files to write down our scenarios. I'll be explaining about the different tools we are going to use in the next slides. The third part will be the application under test. So basically, this framework will support web-based application or mobile applications. So for the beginners, I'll be using the web-based applications first. And the fourth part will be continuous integration, and for that we'll be using the Jenkins. So this course is designed with open source applications so that the learning could be easier. Let's discuss about the different tools being used in this framework. So for source control management, for the version control system, we'll be using Git, and for keeping our source code, the repository will be Bitbucket. And to write the Git commands, sometimes it could be tricky for the beginners. So I'll be using the source tree and I'll represent how different commands could be achieved by this. For designing the framework, we'll be using Java as the programming language, Maven as the dependency management tool, Serenity as the language binding. So Serenity is a wrapper built on Selenium. We'll be using the Gherkin to write our scenarios in given then when format. So that we'll be using Cucumber here. For the assertions, we'll be using JUnit, and we'll be running our test cases on Chrome browser. So we'll be needing Chrome driver for that. And finally, for continuous integration, we'll be using Jenkins. Let's see brief introduction about all these tools I just explained here. So Git is a distributed version control system for tracking changes in source code during software development. Bitbucket, a web-based version control repository hosting service for source code and development projects that use either Mercurial or Git version control systems. SourceTree is a Git GUI that offers a visual representation of your repositories. One thing that I forgot to mention is about IntelliJ IDEA, because to write our Java code will be requiring one of the integrated development environment. So in this case, we'll be using the IntelliJ IDEA, which comes free for the community edition. Maven is a build automation tool, a software project management and comprehension tool based on the concept of a project object model. You might have heard of POM. Maven can manage a project's build, reporting, and documentation from a central piece of information. Cucumber is a software tool that supports behavior-driven development. let's see what is Serenity BDD. So it is an open source library that helps you write higher quality automated acceptance tests faster. And as we are all aware of, Java is a general purpose programming language that is class based, object oriented, and designed to have as few implementation dependencies as possible. Finally, Jenkins is an open source automation server which enables developers around the world to reliably build, test, and deploy their software. So now I would like to request all of you to get set up all the required softwares and the tools. So this will help you doing practice while going through the lessons. So stay tuned. In the next lesson, I'll be explaining about the version control system and how we will achieve that using the source tree, Bitbucket, and Git.